we have 4 simple rules. Number 1, we don't discuss politics, ever. Number 2, this is not a religious channel, and while you might hear people say, God bless you, or I'm going to pray for you, or I wouldn't have gotten through this without my faith, that's fine. What's not fine is to say, my God is better than your God, or here's why you're not getting into heaven. It's not going to fly. Number 3, we believe wholeheartedly if you can't control your tongue, then you can't control your life. So while on board, there's not going to be any cursing in the live chat, period. And number 4, there is no room for mean people on the Lifeboat. Because we discuss very sensitive things from people's past in our group setting, we got to protect those people. The only way they feel confident and comfortable discussing those things is in an environment that is free of trolls and mean people. So if you're a mean person or you're a troll, we're going to block you for life. And if your account happens to be less than 24 hours old, we're probably a little suspicious right from the word go. Why? Well, because there are people in this world who enjoy being cruel solely for the sake of being cruel. It's not going to fly here. But if you're here because you're trying to get sober and live your best life, then you might find that the Lifeboat is just that, a lifeboat. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville, and we will see you on deck.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. And on the other side of the glass, as always, is my partner, Captain Mark Wages. Hope everybody's having a good day. I was just telling my bobble-headed partner, I've been doing really well until just a few minutes ago. The entire city I live in is sick. I kid you not. The entire city is got something going on. It's like a vicious flu. We got a whole bunch of people here today. Hi, Leah. Good to see you. I'm glad to see Brittany has eyes. You know, there are sometimes you just need a good yes.
Love it.
Right? So, people, it's been a while since we went off on a really good rant. And boy, this is a good rant. I'm telling you. And my hat is off to my bobble-headed partner for a whole lot of research that is going to be bringing a lot of stuff to light today that is just hard to wrap your brain around. Hey, Cemetery 76 people. If you will notice, Cemetery is is on the deck. So feel free to tell him how much you love him, and then crap all over him for a while. Can't have you being gone. No, you know what? He's still sober. He's doing great. We conversed last night, but awfully nice of you to stop my heart for the better part of 2 weeks. These days now, though, I have all of his info, and if he pulls this again, I will go and track him down viciously, and I'll be able to do that. I want to thank Ilea because I know she already shared this out. Everybody, please share this out. You know, the farther we get this stuff out, the more people we save. And I'm not being arrogant when I say we, because I'm talking about everybody here. The guy, good to see you. He's fixing to head out, but he wanted to say
thanks
hi.
for stopping by.
I'm glad that you stopped by. Really appreciate you, bud. So I'm going to do a bit of a recap. And the reason is that there's a lot of new folks on the Lifeboat. Obviously, we know about the opioid epidemic. Right? It's been going on now for 1 million people, give or take. And give or take, not many. This is, their estimates are at 900 and some odd thousand. Our estimates are over 1 million. So far, their estimates have been really, really wrong. Ours have been spot on. So, safe bet that we're over the 1 million mark. And if you start to take this back, you can go and watch some videos. We talk about the Sackler family. We talk about all of the different things that have played a very serious hand in this crisis. And this crisis is man-made. This is there are so many things that could have been done to help stop this that were not. And that's just sort of the nature of the beast, right? That happens. Zenwen, good to see you. That happens anytime there's anything like this that happens. There are so many places along the way that something could have been done. And that is just the nature of it, right? That's something that we all have to accept. And we do. We're not jerks about that. You know, it is what it is. However, every once in a while, you come across some things where you go, oh, God, are you kidding? Like this could have been stopped. Okay, so the Food and Drug Administration should have stepped in when the Sackler family was pushing out information about OxyContin they knew to be false. And the last time I talked about this, I had one or two people in particular. One is a woman, and I'm not going to shame her, but oh, would I like to? That said, OxyContin, that the Sackler family was correct. That OxyContin really is only a 2%, chance of addiction. The really funny thing about that comment is the Sackler family was right. I'll give you that. But the Sackler family said that the number was closer to 27% in their internal memos. So I'll agree with you that the Sackler family was right, but not with what they put out to the public. Their internal memos were spot on. The number of people who got addicted to OxyContin is absolutely astounding. Then the government, in its wisdom, stopped doctors from writing prescriptions for OxyContin. This sent everybody to the street. Weird thing happened. They went to the street and said, hey, do you know where to get any pills? These were not heroin addicts. These were not people that wanted to buy powder. These were people who thought themselves not addicts. They thought themselves a different breed, because addicts did dope. These people ate pills, and they ate pills that had been prescribed to them and then got addicted. And I think we hit on this the last time, but when the law came down in 2007 that they were going to stop this altogether, and they wanted doctors to be much more careful, they didn't say from this point forward you need to be more careful. They said retroactively you need to be more careful. So if you've got somebody in your care right now that's doing 12 OxyContin 80s a day, and if that sounds ridiculous to you, that's the dose they wrote me. So they did that. I'm sure I wasn't the only one in the country getting 12 80s a day. The point being, they said you have 30 days to titrate these people off, right? Titrate referring to the method of stepping someone down or up, but in this case, stepping someone down. So that's not a possibility. Even on the lower doses, it's simply not a possibility. You don't titrate somebody off of a drug as tough as OxyContin in a 30-day period of time. So these people end up on the streets, and they ask connections. They ask people who can get them dope. Hey, do you know where I can get some pills? Hey, seventh son, thank you. What does Santa say when he gets ill? oh no, I'm right there, bud. I am right there. So these people go to the street and they ask dope dealers, call it what they are. They ask dope dealers if they knew where to get any oxys, right? Well, by the late 2000s, oxys were gone. The only thing on the street that was still an instant release was Percocet 30s. And you can call it whatever you want. It's an OxyContin 30. But they got away from all of that and got away from Sackler and everything else. And they took advantage of what people wanted. And they had a 30 milligram extended release oxycodone, which is OxyContin. You can call it whatever you want. When it becomes extended release, it's an OxyContin. So these M30s, as they're called on the street, because on the back of each pill it says M-30, became counterfeited. Right? This was not an accident. It wasn't that the people that were doing this from the beast from the east and their partners down south said, hey, I got an idea. Let's say if we can create a market for these M30s. That's not how it went down. There were people screaming for M30s, and they filled the demand with the supply. And that supply was fent. Right? They weren't pressing heroin into pills. They were pressing fent. The problem became this. You can buy fent today on the dark web for about $400 an ounce. By the way, our friends, the beast from the east, they sell troy ounces. So this won't be 28 grams. This will be 32 grams. If you want to cut this to a strength that won't kill everybody, right? If you want to cut this to where it should be, which is about somewhere between 11 to 14%, you're going to end up with 1,000 grams off of the 30 that you started with. You don't have to be a scientist to realize cutting 30 into 1,000 is going to be a difficult thing to do, right? Do the math. How are you going to spread 30 units into 1,000 units and somehow get these to blend? Well, quite simply, you can't. And the problem becomes there's way too many of the pills that are pressed that have nothing in them. So what do? They back off. So instead of turning it into 1,000, we'll turn them into 700. It'll be a much easier mix. Well, then you get a very, very strong pill, even in the best of circumstances. But those strong pills have hot spots, and those hot spots kill. Plain and simple, they kill. So 30 grams of Beast from the East made fent delivered to your door on the rapid program, not waiting the full week, which you could get it for about $370. But if you paid a little extra, you can get it to you in about 3 days. If you turn that into 1,000 grams, you turn 30 into 1,000 grams. Do you see the profit potential for this?
Huge.
Think about it. Oh, huge. Terrifying, right? I talked to somebody from the Northeast, and I won't put them on blast because I don't necessarily want to. I talked to somebody from the Northeast recently, and who's on the boat, and they were talking about prices of fent up there. And it's working out to be hundreds of dollars a gram.
It's crazy.
So let's say we cut that in half. Let's say you're doubling up customers or doing whatever. And let's say it's $100,000, right? $100 times 1,000 grams, $100,000 for an investment of $400. How fast do you think drug dealers are going to jump on this? And how fast do you think people who are into this as a way to make a living, right? The real cartels and the powerhouses jump on this, but they take it a step further. So instead of just selling this to the people like me and Mark or the people that were really far gone in this, they're going to press these things into pills. So now you can take that 1,000 grams that you were going to get, and you're going to add bonding agents and all kinds of stuff to hold it together, and you're going to create thousands and thousands and thousands of pills for the cost of a $400 investment. The people from south of the border send these things across hundreds of millions at a time. Thank you, Zenwen. Appreciate you. Literally hundreds of thousands of pills at a time. If you don't believe me, if you think I'm exaggerating this, do a little research, right? They're seizing this stuff in the hundreds of millions of pills a year. No exaggeration. The 15 tons of powdered fent came across the border last year. 15 tons. People, I just gave you an example of what an ounce can do. 15 tons. Are you wrapping your dome around this? Okay.
Oh, God.
So, does it terrify you?
It's
No,
crazy.
it's not me, right?
It's crazy, man. Because I mean, when we're talking about a ton of this stuff, I guess I probably need to do some math just to get an idea in my own head to see lethal dose and how many people that could kill.
Well, here's a good one for you. I'm glad you said that, partner. The average street dope with M30 on it, 6 out of 10 pills is considered a deadly dose. 60% of all of the pills flying around are a deadly dose. Now, here's what you got to keep in mind. They realize that the vast majority of people buying these things are going to take them home and crush them. Then they're going to put them into a spoon. And that pill might last them a day. It might last them 2 days. But they're not planning on eating this thing. Trouble is, it's pressed into a pill that says M30 on it.
Yep.
Now you got people all over the United States that aren't drug addicts. You got kids in high school that took an M30 out of mom's medicine chest and said, boom, that was a buzz. Then they go to a party and someone says, yeah, I got a bag of M30s. This isn't a drug addict. This is someone still very much in the experimental stage. But they buy that M30 pill and they've got a 40% chance of it not killing them. Think about that.
This is nuts.
This is why it's nuts. It is nuts. This is why over 300 people a day are dying. And I'll tell you something, we're talking right now very seriously about upping the numbers. And I don't mean the government. I'm talking about the Lifeboat.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got to be closing in on 400.
It has to be, man. There's no
Well,
doubt.
here's what I did, Mark. I took one day and I started looking at, like, pick a good weekend that's famous. Like, pick the Thanksgiving holiday weekend and start going city by city. And when I started doing the math, you can't get small towns. They're not reporting. But when you started doing the big cities, we were up in the 200 range with none of the towns in this country, right? These are all just big cities. Got to be in the 400. Got to be, and maybe worse, right? And that doesn't count all of the people who drive drug overdoses that they BS us about. Plain and simple. Person didn't die of a drug overdose. Why? Well, because they were on life support for 4 days, right? An OD basically goes into the books if the person takes the drug, dies, goes to the hospital dead. If they can keep the person alive for a couple of days, the CDC is going to let them fudge that because they don't want to come out and say, we lost 250,000 people last year.
Right.
That's really where they're at. Okay, so the last time I did a really good rant, Mark and I were talking about how there is a company out there that has been doing a lot of research, and they've been working with about 500 government agencies, right? Literally, I think I counted 37 different government or direct government agencies, not non-government agencies, but government agencies. that are funding research to put out a V. You know what a V is? A V is the kind of thing you get a bunch of, what's on your kids when they're young so that they don't get measles, mumps, rubella, all those. If we say that word on here, we're dead, right? They'll bury it because you can't say that word. But so you have these, you got a company out there that's trying to make a V to make it so that opiates do not get into your system. Now, how do they do that? By creating the exact same concept of any other V. So when a foreign body comes into your body, there is an antibody for it. Now, it's not technically an antibody. What this is a long-acting agonist. So what that means is, antagonist rather. It's going to go in and it's going to grab onto the fent molecule, right? And that fent molecule, because of now the size of it, will not be able to pass through the blood-brain barrier. So you got it in your body, but it's not going to get to that receptor. That receptor that's going to release enough chemical that you create yourself to kill you. Okay. Great concept, right? Boy, don't you wish they had come out with this like 20 years ago? I mean, if they were working on this 20 years ago, how many people could have been saved? And I started yelling about this the last time we did one of these. And I said, the scary thing is this. The scary thing is that the largest of the government agencies funding this research, which is being done in Houston, Texas, and 2 different college campuses, right, that are doing the actual testing, phase 1 and phase 2 testing to see how this is going to work. The largest government agency is the Department of Defense. And you think, maybe they're trying to protect soldiers, right? Maybe they're trying to protect soldiers. Or maybe because this is an opioid and not an opiate. What's the difference? They do the same thing in the body, right? It's almost semantics, but it's not. And the reason it's not is because an opiate peaks out at the flower. So you grow a poppy. Now you could genetically engineer this poppy to give you a stronger sap, right? But that sap is the top of the food chain. As you start to make this stuff stronger, that's the ceiling. There's no way to make it any stronger than that, right? There's no way to boil it down or do anything. Please show support. Thank you so much, Zenwen. I really appreciate you. So that's the top of the food chain. You're not going to be able to push it any farther. You can't make it, boil it down. You can't do anything to make it any stronger than that poppy. An opioid never saw a poppy, right? Has the same chemical makeup in every single way, shape, and form. It is an identical chemical makeup. The difference is it's never seen a poppy. This was created in a lab. The other difference is there's no ceiling. You understand what I'm saying? You can continue to make this stuff stronger and stronger and stronger. So what if you need a pain pill or a pain product to knock out an elephant, right? You're not going to give them a Percocet. No, you're going to give them carfent, right? So carfentanil was literally designed to knock out elephants. Works beautifully. Unfortunately, right now it's on the street because you can smuggle a smaller amount, get it in here and try to make that smaller amount into this much. It doesn't work. That's why more people are dying. However, you could take carfent and make it 100 times stronger. You could take carfent and make it 1,000 times stronger. You could make it 100,000 times stronger and have the ultimate bioweapon. The ultimate bioweapon, which makes you wonder why maybe the Department of Defense is bankrolling all of this research. Now, as I had said before, when we did the last show, there is some paperwork if you do enough deep diving. And as Mark was saying just before we went live, you could die for the rest of your life on this. You really could. You could just keep going down this rabbit hole and never stop because it just keeps getting scarier. So the last time we did this, I said, I found research that they were trying to do this stuff in the 90s with blow, with cocaine, and with nicotine. They ran out of money is really what it comes down to. They ran out of money. There were some promising results, but they ran out of money. Mark, however, kept digging and found that this wasn't the only time this was done, right? Scary as crap. This was done before. It was done at the turn of this century, right? So in the early 2000s, they began working on this stuff. Thank you, Heather. And this time, the target was methamphetamine. Exact same principle, people. And I can't tell you the science behind it because the words are going to sound like they have something to do with the C+ math, and they should because it's identical. It is the exact same research.
Yep.
What's that?
Protein-based. It's all,
Protein-based mono.
yeah. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So, you know what I hope you know what I'm saying. If you don't, do a little research and you'll find the word. But if we say the word, we're done.
Yeah.
They'll bury this video. But it's the exact same research. When they popped out and talked about how they started working on proteins for the C plus math and they were going to use these mono.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they had done that before. They had done that before. This exact same technology for developing the C plus math was used on methamphetamine. The question becomes, why the hell have they waited from the early 2000s to right now to apply this stuff to opiates, seeing as opiates is killing more people than anybody, right? I mean, meth might be a plague and it might be really screwing people up all over the planet. And it is. Make no mistake, I'm not a meth fan, but it's not killing 400 people a day
Exactly.
in our country alone. Worldwide, I bet you there's 1,000 people, if not more, a day dying. And I have a feeling they like it. I'm sorry, I really believe that. And I'm telling you, it's an opinion, right? I'm not telling you this is a fact. This is just my opinion. However, so I start thinking to myself, and Mark and I actually talked, because Mark's response was, oh my God, like 6 times.
Yeah.
When he found research, I'm not exaggerating. I should pull it up and show it to you. He said, oh my God, like 10 times. And he said, you're going to think I'm nuts, but I think I found a thread. Well, he found a thread. He may be nuts, but he found a thread. And the more I started following this thread, I thought to myself, well, maybe the government just didn't get a hold of all of this. Maybe this was research that was being done by people that had nothing to do with the, if they don't line up, then, how are you going to know anything? Tanya D, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. No joke, people. This really does help. And we don't ask, but boy, do we appreciate you guys. We really do. So I'm thinking to myself, maybe, honestly, if you do this for a living, right, and you develop something like this, you don't want to share it with everybody on the planet. They still got to make a living. So maybe it's just protected stuff until you start looking at the letters of the different agencies that are funding this. And you see NIDA, right, National Institute of Drug Abuse. They are a massive funder of the methamphetamine project and the opiate project. So they knew about this stuff 20 years ago, which means the government knew about this stuff 20 years ago. Why the hell did they wait this long? Well, I'm going to tell you my opinion. My opinion is this. They don't give a crap about whether or not we die. That's not why they're doing this. They're coming up with this V so that they can V all the soldiers and they can use this stuff as a weapon. Or maybe, if we want to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I don't, but if we want to give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe they think someone else is going to be using this as a weapon of mass destruction, and they want to be able to protect the soldiers before they go in. I honestly think that's horse crap. I really do. I think that they intend to turn this stuff into a weapon, and a damn good one. I mean, you talk about even now Carfent, which is ugly, right? You take me or Mark. I mean, I had a 7 gram a day heroin habit, right? I've never overdosed. I am Keith Richards. But if I were to push my finger through a pile of that, I'd be dead in a few minutes. Now, if they were to up that by 1,000 and you got somebody that was inoculated, so to speak, right, protected, they could just take it and go like this, right? And then go in and shake the hand of a government official from another country who will drop dead on the spot with what? Cardiac arrest. The difference being, I don't care what you do for them, you're not bringing them back. Right? Nothing. You're not shocking the heart. You're not doing anything. I mean, even the antidote doesn't work. The antidote doesn't work on Carfent. Can you imagine 100 or 1,000 times stronger? No way to bring somebody back.
No.
Okay, just my theory. Just my theory. So this time, I had a little bit of time to go deep diving on this. And I did some really screwy stuff, which I've never done before. So the NIDA sponsored this. The drug, or the V, or whatever you want to call it, is called IXT-M200. I guess they couldn't come up with a cool name. By the time they go to retail it, it'll have a really cool name. But right now it's IXT-M200, right? This is developed in the University of Arkansas on a grant primarily from the NIDA. Now, the crazy thing is this. they were fast-tracked on this. Fast-tracked. They were fast-tracked on this by the Food and Drug Administration. Okay? 8 years ago. And they're in the second stage of clinical trials. The Department of Defense fast-tracked this, and in 16 months are in the second phase of clinical trials. What's wrong with that picture? So, the person running this whole gig is named Misty. Misty Stevens. You can get Misty Stevens on the telephone. Put a little effort in. And here's what Misty will tell you. Misty will tell you that what they are working on is called chimeric antibodies. Okay. Like as in chimera. If you guys know what chimeras are, it's literally like having a dog and a cat and bringing the two of them together, or a monkey and a giraffe and bringing them together. Chimeras usually refer to taking two animals, right, in nature that have no way of breeding and turning them into each other. A minotaur would have been put together in a chimera kind of experiment. Well, they are doing chimera. Okay. So in the process of doing this, they have gotten to a level. Hello, Fee Crispin. Boy, she did such a good job yesterday. The day I had great watches. So Intervexion is the company that is now bankrolling this puppy. So now they have private money. And you know what's sad is the private money is still trying to figure out how to block a drug that is on the decline for the first time in forever. For real. Like there was a period of time in this country where the most popular abused drug was methamphetamine, and it was on a climb like nothing had ever seen. The reason being, you could make it in your bedroom, right? If you got the right ingredients and you were willing to take a bit of a risk, you could blow off a batch of meth at your house. And that caused absolute unbelievable proliferation of this drug all over the country. Not because it meant you could get high easily, because you could get rich easily, right? You literally had alchemy. Take 25 ingredients that don't cost you squat, mix them all together, and now you've got profit potential. And I'm not bagging on any, yeah, I am. I'm bagging on all kinds of people, but I don't care. These are not people that got A's in chemistry, right? These were guys blowing off batches in trailers that probably didn't even take chemistry.
Yep.
No joke. I think I've told this story on the boat before, but the first time I got out of prison, I was still a rampant drug addict. I didn't even try to get sober in prison. And there was a guy that saw me at a gas station and said, "Can I borrow some money? I'm going to flip it in 2 days. You can have this much back." And so I lent the guy some cash, but I did not trust him. So I said, "Why don't I just hang out with you until you flip it?" And I went out and watched this guy blow off a batch of meth basically in the woods. And he was doing what's called a cold cook, right? So there's no Bunsen burner. There is no heating of these. It's a matter of just mixing anhydrous ammonia. And it's a crazy recipe, but part of it, they take apart batteries and remove lithium strips out of the batteries because lithium is one of the ingredients. And when you throw this lithium into the mix, you get a lightning storm, I kid you not, inside of the liquid. Like you can see bolts of lightning screaming across the inside. It's really a cool chemical reaction to watch. But as he's throwing the stuff in, I said to him, "What is the ratio?" "What do you mean?" I said, "The ratio, like you used, 45 or 55 boxes of Sudafed, right? And you threw it in with this much, I said, "So how much lithium do you use?" And he goes, "I don't know. I usually go with about 6 or 7 strips."
Yeah. We're not cooking spaghetti here, people.
There is no recipe to this at all. And I said to him, "So it doesn't much make a difference?" And he goes, "Oh, no, it does. If you use too much of this stuff, people get really weird. They start digging on their face. They start looking out the peephole." There's no recipe, right? It scared the hell out of me. But I sat and watched this process. Now, those people don't cook meth anymore. Yo, he's getting a hug.
That's right.
Do you know why they don't cook meth anymore? Because the cartels have put them out of business. When I moved to the town that I live in right now, an ounce of methamphetamine was $1,600. The last time I had a conversation with a drug addict in town, which I do try to do quite often, if I can find anyone that's still in the life, there's a lot of questions I like to ask. Now it's about $190. And it's not because people are making it in town. It's because the cartels are flooding the planet with this stuff. However, that's not what people are getting high on anymore, right? supply and demand. If everybody was getting high on that stuff, the price would be a lot more than it is. They make it dirt cheap to try to entice people to do it. Everybody's getting high on fent. Like the whole country is getting high on fent. So, or fake blow that's got fent in it, or, it's just, but so here we find ourselves with a company that is still pushing forward with a drug that is not really at epidemic phases anymore at all. It doesn't need to be pushed the same way that you would have to do with a drug that's killing over 300 people a day. If that doesn't piss you off a little bit, I got to ask why.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, these are sons and daughters. These are brothers and sisters, right? These are the children of people all over the planet that are getting killed by this crap. And there's the possibility of a V that will make it so that these people aren't going to die.
It's so crazy. Man. It's so crazy to me that that's why I had such a reaction when I first seen it, because I was like, listen, this wasn't even about opiates at first. This was about a total different drug.
Right?
Totally different.
But they knew the process worked.
Exactly. So, and this is the other thing too. If you guys remember when we all went into the lockdown stage of what was happening, and everybody was like, we need to get this and get that and get this. And they said, this is a new way to get the jab, whatever you want to call it, how they were going to make it. And it didn't work the same way as it did before. They put it out there like it was something brand new. No, it's not. It's something that's been around for a long time. They just haven't used it. This
is the crazy part, people. This is really, and this is where Mark lost it.
I'm gonna pop some pictures up here, Tommy, and
okay, yeah, knock yourself out.
Because they're what it is that I've had a lot of people ask about what's a pill press, what's it look like. So I got a couple pics.
I'm just gonna knock yourself out. Okay, knock yourself out. So, what my bobbleheaded partner is talking about is the technology that was used to make this thing that everybody in our country and other countries had to go out and get. This was cutting edge stuff that hadn't been done before, but it had been done before to try to find a way to beat meth. It is the exact same technology. And if you look at it and you go, okay, so this technology can make a V for the entire country to protect them against C plus meth. This V could also help fight methamphetamine. It could also help fight this. It could also help fight opiates, right? You look at all of it. What's the common thread to the entire thing? This is the part where your brain starts going and literally falling in on itself.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to get too into politics, but there's no getting around this. Where did this C plus meth come from? The same damn place that all of the drugs in this country now are coming from, including meth, or the ingredients and precursors to make meth. The common thread through every one of these, so the V that they used, the technology they used, the drugs that everything comes back to the beast from the East. And the more you read, the more you go, good God, there's only one reason in the world why somebody would want to suppress this, right? And it's to thin the herd of the USA.
Yeah.
Honestly. And Australia and all of the other countries that
in the West, they really want
to in the West that are considered enemies of the beast from the East. Now you say, well, that's great. They could want to do all of that, but wouldn't our country step in?
You would think.
You would think, right? You would absolutely think. But I'll tell you something, people. We did a show on TikTok and how much it's influencing our country and where it comes from and how much information they steal and all of that. We've done a ton of different shows about drugs and things that keep coming back to the beast from the East. And I got to say something because it's in the news today. This isn't politics. This isn't anything. And you know what? If you decide to leave, right, there you go, is what it is. There is an awful lot of stuff coming out right now that's making people wonder if maybe the beast from the East has a little bit more control over this country than they probably should. Why? Well, as it turns out, the president's kid did a whole lot of business over there. And if you haven't heard all of the tapes that are now being released, a little help from Elon Musk and some other people, where there's just no arguing anymore that the president of our country was in business with these cats, right? And I'm talking to the tunes of tens of millions of dollars in fees being paid under the table. I'm not that channel, but research the crap out of it.
Yep.
Because I'm telling you, or go watch Marv, because I promise that's coming, right?
Yep.
They're not going to let this one. Yeah, they'll be all over this.
Yep.
The point is, people, that we're under attack. And we've been saying this for so long. The antidote, right? The ability to fight all of this has been around for the beginning of this epidemic. So Mark and I were shooting the breeze and talking about how many people do you think have died since they knew that this kind of technology was possible? So I started doing the math. And by their numbers, it comes out to be about 550,000 people, 500,000. 500,000 people. If I say 9/11, your head immediately goes to a tragedy that killed 3,400.
Yep.
We're hated.
Yeah.
You get it? No lie. We're hated. Thank God they haven't figured out a way to kill us through booze. Because it wouldn't surprise me. They are thinning the herd of people that they think are worthless. And our government is doing this one right here.
Yep.
Right? That's what you're getting. That is what you're getting out of it. Because, thank you, Brandon. Because this technology and the ability to be able to fight this has been around for so damn long that there's no other explanation on the planet. There isn't. I'm sorry. And I don't sport a tinfoil hat. I don't do any of that stuff. I'm not a conspiracy guy. I'm not. But I tell you something, if I decided to be one, I would research the snot out of whatever I wanted to believe in before I believed in it. And the more I do a deep dive on this, and the more that my partner helps, and the more that we get help from people on the crew, thank you, Ilea, the more I've come to realize that this isn't a conspiracy theory. I'm sorry, it's not.
It's not.
It's a stone cold fact.
It's there if you just look. It really is.
Well, and I'll tell you something. I watched something on the news today, and they were talking about Massachusetts. You know how I feel about Massachusetts, right? Buddha knows how I feel about Massachusetts. Anyway, they were talking about a time capsule that is the oldest documented time capsule that we know of in the U.S., right? Sam Adams actually had a hand in it. So this thing was put into the ground, and they pulled it out. I can't remember what it was, 120 years later. And then they pulled it out again after putting new stuff in it. And they continue to pull this stuff out. And the more that they start looking at this and looking at how cool this whole time capsule thing is, they ended up putting away one from 2020. And into this time capsule went a computer with a Zoom hookup, loaded and ready to go, right? Because you couldn't work it at your office, so you needed Zoom. In there was a mask and a test to test for C+ math, right? Why? Why would that be? Because, well, there was, hundreds of thousands of people in our country that were affected by this. There's been 500,000 that have been affected by something that they knew about and didn't do a damn thing. Had the technology to beat it. In fact, shouldn't have been a real shocker, because when they said, hey, we need to come up with a V and we need to do it in about 3 weeks, they said, hey, we got this antibodies that we can now use this technology to do, it's brand new. And it ain't brand new. It's not brand new at all.
Yep.
Not brand new at all. This stuff's been through phase 2 testing already. We know that this works, except they were isolating methamphetamine. At that time, this is the part that made me want to throw my telephone through a window. At the time that they were isolating methamphetamine, 300,000 deaths had already been traced to the opioid epidemic. Why start with meth? I mean, honestly, It doesn't make a fart bit of sense to start with meth. But even if you wanted it to, why are they pushing so hard? Well, why is the Department of Defense bankrolling it? They didn't bankroll the meth one, right? They didn't bankroll the one on coke, and they didn't bankroll the one on cigarettes. But boy, when they got around to something that you could turn into a friggin' weapon,
that's when they
were all in. Yeah, they were all in. Here you go, chips. Boom, we're done.
Yep.
How much do you need? How much do you need? And then they get the Food and Drug Administration to fast track it. They fast tracked both of them. The first one they fast tracked in 2015, and it's in phase 2 testing. The second one, which could be a weapon, they fast tracked in 2020, and we're in phase 2 testing. Oh, explain that to me. Seriously, how does that work? Zenwen, you are too kind. You really are. God bless. But you understand what I'm saying, people?
Yeah. It's so, man, it when you start looking at it, and you know, like especially as deep as me and Tommy have done this, it is it really does start to just open your eyes to things that you some of the horrible stuff that you thought, no, there's no way this is going on.
There's no way, right?
No way this is happening. You know, I thought I was reading it wrong when I first came across the article. And it was funny because you know what? It popped up in my feed. It wasn't something it was a YouTube video. It was a 2-minute video of a news clip. So I watched that, and it was from some like local news station in Omaha or something. I mean, it was just somewhere where you just wouldn't even think, right, that it would even matter to those people out there in the middle of nowhere. And so when I seen that, I clicked on it, and they had obviously they sourced it. They sourced the article, the study that was being done. And that's when I started looking at it, and I was like, these news guys must have got this wrong. So I had to go, read the article for myself, and I was like, oh my God, are you really freaking kidding me? We just did a show on this talking about the opiate part, and they did this years ago, acting like it's brand new stuff. It's
years ago. Well, and here's my question. How is it that the people that released the article about, hey, they've come up with this wild technology where you can actually make a V for drugs, but they're not as good as the researchers at the Lifeboat? Or are they being told not to talk about it?
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, if you do this for a living, right? You got a research team. Here at the Lifeboat, you got 2 drug addicts, right? 2 recovering drug addicts who find these threads that we're not making this stuff up. And the beautiful thing is we got tons of crap to back it. You want to see all of the stuff on it, I'll send all of it to you. Drop me an email. We'll send you everything you ever wanted to know about it.
Right.
Or Mark can link to it or whatever. But
yeah,
it's all there. Every bit of this is a fact. How is this happening?
Yeah.
If you can come up with an explanation other than the one that my partner and I have come up with, please drop us a line.
I want to know. I mean, because if they're doing this to help and they're doing it for just research purposes, well, then let's see where the help is at. What are we seeing? What are we getting from this? Anything?
7 years. 7 years to get to phase 2 testing. And that's fast tracked.
Yeah.
But when the DOD is involved, man, it took about 14 months.
Yep.
14 months. Why? Because you got to make sure that your people can go in there right after you drop this stuff out of a C-130 over an entire country or city.
Exactly.
I'm telling you, do you have any idea the potential of this stuff, people?
Well,
I mean, if you really wrap your dome around it, go ahead, Mark.
And then the pill press stuff I was just showing you guys with the opiate end of it.
And that's really crazy too, people. If you look at that pill press that Mark just put up there,
that's the dye part of it. It's that
you are
simple.
looking at the dye of you are looking at the dye of a
and I can put
a perk 30.
Yeah, that's a perk 30 right there. That's a 30 with an M. It'll be one side of the M will be on one side and the 30 will be on the other.
Right, with the perforation, you see where they can break it in half. That's on the 30 side. Now, here's the thing. I would be willing to bet you money that came from a bust, right? Where they went in and found somebody who was doing this stuff. So the question becomes, every 6 pills that thing touched could kill somebody. How many of those do you think took Americans off the planet?
It's crazy, isn't it?
What's crazy is people, for the longest time, I thought, you know what? You just can't fight it. I mean, you do what you can, but you got to fight it on the supply side. You can't fight it. I mean, on the demand side, you can't fight it on the supply side. I don't think we're trying to fight it on the supply side. The deeper that you dig on this, the more you realize that the stuff. Okay, so let's say you order something off the dark web, right? And I'm not too tripped out about talking. Every once in a while, someone will send me an email and say, when you tell people about that, they're going to go on the dark web. You know what? People, you got to talk about this.
Yeah.
I'm not saying, hey, what you want to do is go to www. I'm not trying to make this easy on anybody, but if you buy this stuff on the dark web, it's got to go through customs.
Right.
You understand? Okay. I buy watches every day from different countries that take a month and a half to get through customs. These people on the dark web will guarantee you for $30 extra, they'll have it to your door in 72 hours. How?
Yeah.
How? If there are not people involved in this, make me understand. So the last batch of watches that I bought out of the country, I said to the guy, I will pay any amount of money. Literally, I will pay any amount of money if you can get this to me in a week. Oh, well, that's not possible. It's got to go through U.S. Customs. They're going to open your package. They're going to examine it. They're going to look at it. And right now, I got 3 watches in Dayton, Ohio, right? And they're not letting them go because I didn't say what kind of movements they're in them. I got to tell them it's a 17 jewel movement, right? The movement is made of the plates on the movement are made of tin or whatever. It's insane.
I'll go pick them up for you.
Yeah, there you go. I might have you do that. No lie.
I'll do it.
But then you got a guy that can get you fake meth, which is, by the way, real, just made from the beast from the east, or any of these drugs that you're buying off of the dark web. You can get to your house in 72 hours. How stupid do you have to be to believe that? It's just the size of the package. Horse crap. I could put a watch this big in a package smaller than an ounce.
Yeah.
Right. What the hell is getting that stuff here that fast? Yeah. People, ask yourself that question.
It's crazy.
They have to be turning their back. There's no other explanation.
Yep, exactly.
There isn't. If I didn't do this every single week of my life, right? I don't just buy watches from the US. I buy them from all over the world. There's no other explanation. I've been waiting on a Rolex from another country for 4 months. It's in the system, and they'll say, "Well, it's at the." But I could get meth or fent here in 72 hours.
This is crazy.
What the hell?
Yeah, I know. That's just nuts. And something else, another layer here I could add to that is these pics I just showed you guys. You know where they came from? Amazon.
Oh God, you got to be kidding!
I am not. Not even kidding. They're selling these things on Amazon.
And where are they made? You want to bet me your life?
You ain't even got to say it.
No, you don't.
It's just
I would
crazy
be
to
willing
me.
Bet you any amount of money in the world. If you can find one of these made someplace other than the beast from the east, I would be blown away. I'd bet you a paycheck that you're not going to find one of these you could buy online that isn't made there. But we let him in?
Yeah.
We let him in. That friggin' thing went through customs?
Yeah.
How is that possible, people? Right? You think I'm crazy? You think this is a conspiracy? How the hell is this possible?
Yeah. Somebody has to explain it to me. They're going to have to, or I'm just going to keep thinking this way. I mean, there's no...
I'm going to keep yelling about it, too.
It just, and that's the thing. Ain't nobody going to, nobody's going to be Slim Shady in this situation and stand up. It ain't happening. They're just going to sit there because most... I'm just saying, I mean, because what they're going to do is they're just going to, like the rest of everything else that happens, eventually this will fall on the deaf ear unless we keep, and all of us, just keep saying it. That's the only way. And then finally, maybe one of these days, it'll hit the right ear that maybe somebody up there that has the amount of power can actually do something about it. Might have a conscience, a little bit of one, and do something. And I'm not trying to say that everybody up there on the hill or whatever is a bad person. I'm not, because I don't think that. I don't think that at all. But I do think that a good majority of it is nothing but selfish reasons, and it just is what it is. So what they do, how do? They treat us like we treat trolls. We pretend they're not there, and eventually, what happens? What happens, Tommy? They go away.
Yeah, plain and simple.
It just is that simple. And it's up to us not to let that happen. Because nobody else is going to stand up and do it.
Damn straight. If we do not do it, there is nobody else that's going to. And now, because this just sucks, but I'm going to do this because we're up to getting close to the top of the hour. And since I've been bitching for the last, 15 minutes, people, we're the Lifeboat, right? We are a group of people that have a couple of things in common. One, we're all fighting something, right? Even if the habit's not yours, if the habit's your loved ones or your son or your grandson or whatever, we're all fighting something. That's what brings us all together. And what keeps us here is the fact that we love one another without ever having seen or met one another. So the shit that's been going on in the comment section for the last couple of days is going to come to a stop. For real. Let's give each other a little bit more latitude, right, before we start getting too crazy. Honestly, yesterday before we went off the air, I didn't turn off my phone and I was able to go back through. Let's not take any joy in deleting anybody, and let's not pile on people like they're enemies. If somebody says something they shouldn't, we love everybody here, man. Seriously. We got a rule that says if you're mean, we get rid of you. If not, let's just tell people why we do what we do, and let's err on the side of kindness. Please. Please. Right?
Yep.
I don't want this to ever get away from us, people.
can't-
What makes us unique, right? This is what makes us unique. It's not me and my partner. It's all of you. So if we all don't get along, this thing is going to devolve into something that none of us want it to be.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
No, I agree with you, and and that's when if anybody was watching the chat yesterday, we did give a lot of leeway to because first thing that happened with when stuff was going on in there is a few of us immediately was like, "Are you okay?" It wasn't
Right.
get you out of here. It was like, "Hey man, why? What happened? Let's try to understand what's going on and why you're feeling that way." And then we can move forward like that. And we did. I think we made it kind of past that. I think we handled it decently at the end, but it was kind of rough there for a minute. I just leave it at that. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, but we have to, if we're going to tell people to come here, we're not going to judge them. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to judge them.
Amen. Hey, Matthew Barilla, I'm at level 28 in training and building for day 29. Good for you, brother. Good for you.
It's awesome, man.
That's awesome.
It really is.
It really is. It really, really is. That kind of stuff makes me so happy. I can't begin to tell you.
Yep.
Niall, if you're going to get here late, you're going to stay after class and write on the board about what time the lifeboat starts or some such.
Oh, Niall in here. I missed him. Where you at?
Yeah, well, he just got here.
Oh,
He got here late.
okay.
We're not having that. Come on, man. You're better than that.
Exactly.
Obviously, I'm kidding. But I'm scared to hell that you found that on Amazon. I'm honestly absolutely beside myself
Just
that you found that on Amazon.
a simple Google search, guys. Hit pill press. That's all you have to
Out of
do.
curiosity, what did it cost?
I'd have to go back and look, man. It wasn't much. It wasn't what you think.
Cemetery is 14 months sober. Okay, so but let's just for laughs.
I could
Let's
find
say it was
out.
$500. Let's say it was $500. So for $1,000, you're in business, right?
Yep.
And you throw in a little polyvinyl chloride, which you could buy, food grade polyvinyl chloride's nothing. You buy the bonding agents and all of that, and you're in business. And your investment of $1,000 is going to turn into $100,000 to $200,000. What chance have we got if they let this crap into the country? They won't let in a watch without looking at it and not just looking at it. They want me to tell them how many jewels are inside. Right? They want me to tell them that if the band is made of leather or it's made of lizard or if it's synthetic, but a pill press is smoking right through, and the dope that they're going to press with it is smoking right through. You're going to tell me I'm paranoid? You're going to tell me that this is a conspiracy theory? How's it getting here when nothing else does? That we have supply chain issues for everything in this country but fent. How does that? Honestly, am I crazy?
It's crazy, man. I mean, and the thing, it blows my mind. I'm about to get your price here in about 2 seconds, and you're probably going to lose your mind because it ain't going to be much. Let's see here.
Christopher Allen says, yeah, every once in a while I stick my foot in my mouth. I'm creepy, but not look at your medicine cabinet. Creepy. First of all, I want to tell you something.
We did a lot of that.
I was that guy.
Yeah.
If you knew the amount of, there's nobody I ever met until I was probably 30 something that I didn't look in your medicine chest.
Yeah.
That was a big thing for me growing up when Quaaludes were still around.
Well, okay, here, let's just give you an idea. Right here, you can buy and I can't show it to you because it's on the Amazon site, and I don't want to do that. But it's $134 for a pneumatic punch press. All you have to do is put the die on the bottom of that. And the die itself was like $20. So you're looking at $150 and you're on your way. It is.
My brother says, I'm waiting on 5,000 tubes for the tube of terror for 4 months.
Yeah.
Well, you should have been packing them full of fent. You'd have been done in seconds.
It's crazy, man. That's just, see,
people, you think we're paranoid? Honestly, you think we're conspiracy theorists?
I don't think so at all.
Good Lord.
Man. I mean, we're not out. We're not out here screaming, stupid stuff. We talk about the legit part. We give you guys the source. It's from a legit study. It's from an article from colleges that studied this, and it really truly is just crazy.
These are facts.
Yeah.
I mean, these are absolute facts. And you know, one of the things that you end up doing if you're a captain on the lifeboat, if you run into anybody, like if I run into somebody from my past and they say to me while I'm still in the life, every single time I go, hey man, you be willing to talk to me on the telephone? I'm not going to try to get you sober, I promise. That's not what you want to do. I just have questions, man.
Right.
You know, or the girl that propositioned me in a parking lot out in front of a place that I buy watches. I said, I'll give you $20. I just want you to answer a bunch of questions. You know, what are you paying for heroin? And in this town that I live in, you can still get heroin. It's just 4 times more expensive than fent. And I promise you, people, when you get to that stage of addiction, you're going with the cheapest. You know what I mean? Even if it's risking your life, you're going with the cheapest. Sad but true.
Yep. Johnny says it's spicy peanut challenge we make at it. Somebody must ask him what the tube of terror was.
You don't know what a tube of terror is? You should look it up because it's really funny.
It is funny. You'll see a lot of good stuff, and you'll see.
Don't watch my brother eat it. Watch somebody else eat it.
He's like a freak when it comes to eating hot stuff. It's like he has a built-in, like, well, he just likes it. I guess his mouth isn't any different. He just likes what it feels like.
Right?
He has a special relationship with pain. I love him, though, man. It's so crazy to me, guys. And I know we've said this before, but without Chase the Heat, me and Tommy never meet.
No. Nope. Myself and Fiona, I don't meet any of you people without Chase the Heat.
Yeah, exactly. And that's,
you know, really, really crazy, but true. This is, it's opened basically every door to everything that we do. So in spite of the fact that everybody on that channel, 120,000 of them or something, we're all insane, I love all of you. I love all of you.
Oh, Charlie.
And your special relationship with pain. What's
Charlie
that?
chimed in. Not as funny as the Sistroming video.
No, you know what? If you've never seen the Sistroming video, people, I
need to.
promise you, go look up the Sistroming video. You're going to see a picture of me like this, with my hands to my mouth, probably holding in vomit, standing in front of a pond. And it is one of the funniest videos you've ever seen in your life.
He takes a victory lap around the tree.
I do. It's the last of my victory laps of the day, though, isn't it? I was pretty excited at that point, but it was all downhill from there.
Hey, thanks, John. Hey, Cheryl, I want to say something to you real quick. Hey, the other day, this really had nothing to do with the Lifeboat. Just to take 2 seconds.
Sure.
I deleted her comment because it was all caps over on Mars. I thought there was a no cap rule over there. That's why I did that.
Because it sounds, you know, here's the thing, people. Let me tell you something. While we're on that subject, do you know why channels say that there is a no cap rule? Because the big red button reacts to that.
Sometimes, yeah.
Honestly, yeah, it's a big red button issue. It's not that it's the hate, we don't like looking at caps. Any of the rules that seem like they're stupid, there's always something behind that, and it's something that's going to end up hurting the channel. So,
and it does mean you're yelling if you're really thinking about it that way.
Correct.
But most people don't hold any stock to that anymore. You know.
So I've done this entire show in all caps.
Yeah, me too. You see what I do?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we've been yelling since we got here.
Well, what I'm saying is, when I like to shout, everybody comes in to the live chat, and I do it in capital letters. And you know, maybe I don't know if it's hurting us. I hope it ain't hurting us. I don't think it is. If it is, I guess I can change it.
WEVRN. Swervin. Welcome to the Lifeboat. Swervin.
There you go. You got it.
Only took me 2 minutes. Swervin Canine. Good to have you here.
Yep. I know you don't.
I will try to speak with you soon.
I know you don't, Cheryl.
Today was one of those days. Yeah, Niall, I apologize. Today was one of those days. So I woke up this morning, people, and everybody in North America bought a wristwatch over the weekend. It was, honestly, it was absolutely overwhelming. And so I had to package watches all day long. And then Lady Crispin had a couple of auctions that we had to take care of this morning. So it was just, I was out straight. If you were expecting an email or a phone call, today was not the day. But I promise you, I will be getting in touch with anybody that I missed here shortly. And what day of the week is it? We're going to be back tomorrow night.
Look at Buddha. Buddha's killing me. Buddha says, "Why are we all yelling? Why so serious? Seriously." In all caps.
He's from Massachusetts.
Man. Yeah, it explains a lot.
They've got a great nickname for people from Massachusetts.
What's that?
I'm not going to say what it is.
Uh-oh.
I'm not going to say what it is.
Look it up. Look it up, people.
He knows exactly what I'm saying. He knows what I'm saying. So that was for a party of one or anybody else that's from Massachusetts. They know what I'm saying. All righty, people. We will be back tomorrow night. Same squirrel time, same squirrel channel. What is the link to your wristwatch page? You really want to go down that road? Send me an email and I'll send you a link. I wouldn't want to put it up here. Good Lord, all of the things that could happen. Send me an email and I will send you a link because there are 4 different places that we advertise depending on price points and such. So send me an email. All right, Niall, we will expect you tomorrow right on time for its chalkboard stuff. And I will reach out to you, Niall. I'd like to talk to you too. So, people, hello, Andrew. I am Captain Tommy Scoville, and on the other side of the glass,
Captain Mark Wages.
and that's a cat in a basket. Good night, everybody. We love